Hey guys, welcome to the Luvele Life channel. My name is Jack. I'm from the Chef Jack Ovens YouTube channel, and I'm here to showcase one of my favorite recipes, which is chili con carne. We're going to be using the vacuum canisters from Luvele, so let's get straight into it. Alright, starting out, we're going to need 2 brown or yellow onions. We can remove the tip and then slice these in half, and then just peel off those annoying skins, with all of those scraps being saved for a stock. We're going to be giving this a medium dice, so we'll slice about 1 centimeter strips along the onion, make a horizontal slice through the center to break up the formation, and then just dice this, like I said, into medium to large size pieces, trimming off any excess flesh from around the root, leaving us with that small little bit. Next is 4 cloves of freshly peeled garlic. These can be ran along a microplane or fine box grater to create a paste, and I recommend using a paste for this recipe because roughly chopping it doesn't quite get the best flavor out of the garlic for this type of recipe. 3 spring onions or scallions are completely optional, but I recommend using them in this recipe. We'll separate the roots from the stems, and as for the roots, these can be sliced on a straight angle to create little circle shaped pieces, and these are going to be used in the chili. And as for the stems, these can be sliced on a slight angle to create diamond or oval shaped pieces, and these will be used as a garnish, so they can be placed into a small container and then just popped in the fridge until we're ready to serve. When you're ready to cook, get your stovetop onto a high heat and we can place over a large pot. Then we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of vegetable oil, which is optional, you don't have to use that, and then add in 1 kilo of beef mince. This is 80% lean with 20% fat, but you can use less fat if you wanted to. And what we're going to do now is just let this sit for about 2 minutes to form a crust on the surface. After 2 minutes, this can then be broken up, mix it around, and we're going to brown this off for about 5 minutes, just making sure that there's no redness left in it. And I do recommend hitting it up with some sea salt flakes to taste. This is going to extract quite a bit of the moisture, which can then evaporate. Obviously the fat won't evaporate, which you can drain off if you prefer, but I recommend leaving it in. Next to go in is the brown or yellow onions, the root ends of the spring onion, as well as the minced garlic. And then we can mix this around and cook for 3 minutes, which will get a nice little bit of browning on those vegetables, obviously increasing the flavor, and it will help soak up some of that fat. Now, to really increase the flavor, we're going to add in 14 grams of ground cumin, 2 grams of red chili powder, 7.5 grams of smoked paprika, and 5 grams of mustard powder, as well as sea salt flakes and cracked black pepper to taste. Then mix this around really well, just brown it off for about 1.5 minutes just to get that nice color through it. And this is going to add a beautiful earthy warmth, spiciness, fragrance, everything in between. Now, to complement those spices and make the sauce, we're going to add in 200 grams of concentrated tomato paste, 60 grams of tomato ketchup, 20 grams of yellow mustard, which is also known as American mustard, 12 grams of brown sugar, which is optional, 3.5 grams of ground allspice, 30 milliliters of apple cider vinegar, and 350 milliliters of beef stock. With all of that in, give it a really good mix through for those flavors to become friends and start developing, and we're going to bring this to a boil in the meantime. I do recommend checking it for seasoning at this stage as well and adjusting if necessary with sea salt flakes and cracked black pepper, but with everything in, just give it another mix. Like I said, bring it to a boil, and once it is at a boil, we're then going to reduce the heat to low, cover it with a lid, and we're going to cook this for about 35 to 40 minutes, just mixing it around every now and again. Now, with about 20 minutes left on the timer, we're going to add in 300 grams of washed long grain rice to a saucepan, along with 550 milliliters of cold water. Hit it up with some sea salt flakes to taste, and then just give it a mix to prevent any clumps from forming, and cook this over a high heat, bringing it to a boil. Once it is at a boil, reduce the heat to low, cover it with a lid, and we're going to cook this for about 12 minutes undisturbed. Then we can take it off the heat, let it sit for another 5 minutes before removing the lid, and then fluff it up with a fork. And there we have our beautiful rice, which is ready. And this can be removed from the stovetop, and these are the macros for the rice, and that is per portion. Going back to the chili, the lid can then be removed, turn it off the heat, just give it another mix through to keep those flavors working around, and just check it for seasoning as well, adjusting if necessary. And this is the macros for the chili alone, and that again is divided by 5. As for serving up, we're going to divide everything by 5, and I'm using a 1.3 litre container for this recipe, so it does look smaller, but it is the same amount as what I usually use. Top it with some sour cream, which is completely optional, as well as garnishing it with the stems of that spring onion or scallion. Then we can place on the lid, and if you have the containers and the vacuum seal pump, you can then use that to make this last an extra day, which will last 4 days in the fridge anyway, as well as 4 months in the freezer, leaving us with this beautiful dish. And these are the macros for the complete dish. Again, everything divided by 5. With all of that said and done, we can then dig in. What we've just created there is an absolutely fantastic meal. This is super easy to make, it's cheap and tastes absolutely incredible. And like you've seen in the video, the nutritional values are pretty minimal, so it's good to have for you. If you enjoyed this video, please do hit that like button. It really helps everyone out, and consider subscribing to Luvele Life, as well as myself over on Chef Jack Ovens. Thanks for watching.